What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So, yesterday evening, my father had a heart attack, right? Um, had a heart attack, had to get a stent placed in his heart, and he's doing well. He's doing well. He's recovering, um, taking time out to rest. He's gonna be in the hospital for a minute, then got to go to rehabilitation, so on and so forth. But yesterday hearing it shook me up, right? And you know, I don't know if I spoke about it on this channel. Me and my father, we like this, super close, super close. Like in high school and in college, me and my father would talk like almost every day, every other day at least. You know what I mean? And so, my father has always been a person who I've idolized in my life. Always respected my father to the utmost, and so to hear that, it was like scary. My father's an older gentleman now. I have 2 children, and I want my father to be here for as long as possible to watch my children grow, to be able to build even stronger bonds with them, and all of those things, and to see certain milestones that they achieve as long as possible. It's also a thing too. Black men, we gotta make sure that we healthy, take care of our health, go to the doctor, do what we supposed to do in order to be on this earth as long as possible. Life can be short as it is with all this other stuff going on in life, but if we can help it, we want to stay here as long as possible on this earth, to be here with our loved ones, so on and so forth. I'm glad my father is doing well, for sure. It's a scary thing though, super scary. But I really want to talk about my dad, and I really want to say too, man, when you got people and you love them, tell them you love them every day. Every chance you get, and you spend time with your people. When you're in the throes of parenthood, and I have a young child, I have a 2-year-old, right? And so when you have a young child, you spend a lot of time with your child, trying to raise them, trying to do them, teach them things, spending time with them. So I haven't been spending as much time with my father as I would normally do, because I'm just working and taking care of my son, and and my daughter as well, and just being in the throes of parenthood. But also, man, it's important to still spend time with your people when you can. My father, man, like I speak about him highly a lot, man. My father has always been my guy. I learned a lot about life, about responsibility, about adulthood, about parenthood, fatherhood for real. I learned being a man. Learned a lot about women from my dad. My dad is a man who really made no excuses for a lot of things in life. He's a no-nonsense guy. He was all about protecting, providing, and being a leader. And so that's why when you hear me say that, being in Chicago, being born and raised on the south side of Chicago, I've been on the south side of Chicago majority all my life. I lived in Markham after I graduated from grad school. I graduated from grad school 2017. I was in Markham for about a good 2 years. No, I'm lying. 3 years. Got a good 3 years. Now, when I got to Markham, I was 23. Then I moved back to the city after that. But, when I got my own spot, I was in Markham with my mom's. But I've been in Chicago all my life. I'm 30 years old now. I've been in Chicago, born and raised Southside Chicago, Chicago Public School, all of that. And I was able to rise above the nonsense in the city because I had strong mothering too. My mother didn't play that shit at all. She was like the warden in the household. But my father, man, listen. He raised me to be a leader and to march to the beat of my own drum. Not to do what everybody else was doing. Not to try to be something I wasn't. But to do what was right. So I never smoked, I never drank. I never joined in gangs, nothing like that, even though it was all in my surroundings every single day. Whether it was at school, on the way to school, in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was whatever, it was just always around. At the local basketball court, but I always stuck to who I was and me, and I stuck to my principles and values because my father was a man who stuck to his core principles and values. he is a man who sticks to his core values and principles. I'm not speaking this past tense. You know, my father's doing well. You know what I mean? And you know, he's just an upstanding individual, right? So when I learned those things from him, it was something that when I became a father, I became a dad at 18 years old. It was something that I passed to my daughter, right? Something that I will pass to my son. My father, man, was an ultimate go-getter, right? I learned a lot about entrepreneurship from my dad. For those who don't know, my father has been a cable contractor from my time I was born till I can remember. He recently just stopped, right? And so I never knew my father to work for the actual cable company. He worked for himself. Father was a hustler. So my dad used to work for the cable company for years, right? And he was doing cable on the side while he was working for the cable company. He built up enough clientele on the side to where he could stop working for the cable company and just work for himself, him and his partner. A man who I call my uncle, his partner, right? One of his close friends. So they maintained the connections that they had while working for the cable company, like for the wiring, etc. And they made business boom. I saw my dad providing like pay-per-view boxes and stuff to people. This is back in the 90s, right? You can watch all the fights, all of those things with pay-per-view. Like pay-per-view cable was it was a luxury then. It was a luxury. Everybody didn't have cable in the hood. If you had cable in the hood, it was like, whoa, right? And we always had cable because my dad was the cable guy, right? Right? We always had cable. For the free 99, of course, too. And my dad and my mom wasn't even together at the time. But my dad, gonna make sure we got cable, all of that, right? And so my dad was doing cable jobs, making great money, doing his thing. He was a hustler, doing this, getting the cable boxes to people, and was making a whopping off the cable boxes. He'd buy a box of cable, pack of cable boxes for the pay-per-view boxes. He'll buy a box for like, I'm not gonna tell you how much he was buying them for. It's really low, and he was selling them. How much they cost for the whole pack? He was selling one box for that. How much the whole pack costs? And I think how much was it in the pack? It might have been 5 cable boxes in the pack, 5 or 6. And so how much he paid for the pack? He was charging per cable box, per pay-per-view box. So he was doing his thing, right? And so I looked at my father and I found out what he was doing. I was watching my dad sit at the bar at my grandmother's house. My grandfather, my late grandfather, who I never even met, he was a carpenter, so he made a bar downstairs in a lower basement area. And so my dad would sit at the bar and, he'll hook up the cable boxes. He'll be putting the chip in the boxes and all of that. And I would watch him doing this. I was a little itty bitty boy. I'd be watching cartoons, watching my dad sitting at the bar for hours doing that. And I'm like, what is my dad doing? What is he doing? What is he doing? And I mean, he was doing his thing. And I saw him sit here and do that and was able to provide for me and my siblings and give us whatever we needed. You know what I mean? Helping my mom out, all of those things. Like, he was just always been a stand-up man, a stand-up individual, and a go-getter who went out there and got it. My daddy done hooked up half of Chicago, Illinois, and probably even more than half. He done hooked up half of the Chicago land area, whether it be Naperville, Gurnee. If my dad going out that far, you got to pay. You was having to pay my pops. My pops was getting like $300 to go to Gurnee and stuff like that. And your cable stay on. You wasn't paying no monthly fee, none of that. And he had a three-month guarantee. If it got cut off within 3 months, he's gonna cut you back on for free. If it got cut off within 3 months. After that, beyond the 3-month time, you would have to pay again. If your cable lasted for more than 3 months, you have to pay again. And people's cable lasted for years. Never got cut off for a long time. He had big, what do you call those? The notebooks, the composite notebooks. He had those big notebooks filled with names and addresses and phone numbers, right? When he come to your house, he open up his little notebook and he call your phone. He put down what time he was supposed to do your cable, on what day, so on and so forth. So my dad was a real organized individual. right? And I would be with him when he did these cable jobs, man. And I would go see what he was doing. He climbing up the pole, going in the house, hooking up cable, all of that. And I'd be looking at my pops like, man, yo, my dad really out here getting it. My dad worked so hard on his hands, he had callus on his hands, right? His hands was callous. Hard working dude. Be in the summertime in the heat. He's sweating, doing the cable, hooking it up. I'm standing there right there with him. He, Malcolm, hold this flashlight for me. I'm holding the flashlight. You know what I mean? I'm sitting outside. He sit in the car, honk the horn if you know somebody trying to get through, whatever. I'm right here. I'm right here in the all of that. He to call my phone if you need me. The people let me come in the house. And y'all, it was an experience, man. My father, I learned a lot from him. My dad was is. I mean, speaking in present tense, my father's okay. My dad is a well-dressed dude. Always has been a cologne connoisseur. I got my affinity for cologne from my dad. He always was a dude that was a good smelling dude, always was clean. Hygiene was important to him. Like, seriously, no lie, I always crack this joke. I don't know, it's a crazy thing. You know how you be your parents, and you be like, when your parents, like, in the morning, your parents talking to you, you get the whiff of the morning breath from your parents sometimes. Yo, I ain't never smelled my daddy breath stink. Gotta be laughing like, what the heck are you doing? Why do yo? Yeah, I never smelled that ever in my life. Like, and my dad would be in my face in the morning, tying my tie. I was in JROTC in high school. He'd be tying my tie. I didn't know how to tie a tie at the time. I learned how to tie a tie off YouTube, right? My dad would be tying my tie for me when I got on Wednesdays. I would have to wear my JROTC uniform. And I was like, yo, Dad, what the heck? Why your brother don't never kick? Your brother ain't never kick it. I don't know what the hell. You know what I mean? But, you know, my dad was always a stand-up dude, man. And I've always admired him for all the things that he did. He was, like, again, a dude that was on his hands and knees, you know, working on the ground, hugging up cable, behind TVs, drilling holes in the walls and all of that. And I'm like, yo, man. And then he come to the car and he'd be laughing and joking with me. And, you know, we go stop to the store, get something to eat. We do all of that, and he go home. We laugh and we joke and we watch the sports. We watch this sports game, whether it be basketball or football together. You know, a lot of my father's friends passed away in their early, their mid years. One of my dad's best friends passed away probably in his early 50s. So in my first year of college, one of my dad's best friends, my dad's best friend, and actually my older brother's, his uncle. You know, my dad's best friend introduced my father to my oldest brother's mom, right? And, you know, they dated or whatever and all of that. And but anyway, my dad's best friend, you know, is my older brother's uncle. And so my older brother's uncle, he passed away like at the end of my freshman year of college, right? And so then my dad's other best friend passed away when I was in high school. And he was significantly younger than my dad, but they were really, really close. They were real best friends. He died away in his early 40s. He passed away in his early 40s, right? And so I say that to say my dad's friends, I've either passed on, a lot of them, or they moved away. And so with that happening, my dad got closer, like, to me and my brother. And so one of my older brothers got killed in 2004. He was 19. And I also think that also played a part too. But me and my dad were always super close like this. I'm talking about he would call me on the phone to this day and would watch a game with me on the phone. That's how close we are. He don't know how to use. My dad is not savvy with technology, so he called me to order all this stuff off Amazon Prime. He give me his card number. I got his card information. He tell me to order this, order that off Amazon Prime for him. Yeah, that's my dude. That's my guy, man. I've always talked to him about women advice, all of those things. So yeah, man, that's really, my dad is one of my best friends. Because of that, he called me all the time, called me and my brother all the time when he was working. He had called me when he taking a little break, called me and my brother on three-way, all of those things, you know. So yesterday I say all those things about my dad to say, man, when I heard that, it scared me for sure. Really gave me a scare. But I'm so glad that my father is doing well, and you know, everything is okay. But it provided me with a major scare, y'all. Not gonna lie, provided me with a major scare, but I'm sorry, I was looking at something. Yeah, it provided me with a major scare, and so I'm glad that he's okay. Going to go see him today. I talked to him last night. Gonna laugh and joke, and we gonna hang out. But I say that to say, black men, please take care of yourself, and everybody in general. Love on your loved ones while they're here. Shower them with love. Spend as much time with them while you can. Because yesterday shook me up. Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out. Peace.